Hello. So it's me, your guide of light, helping you through the night. And I was on my way home from work, and I was thinking about how earlier this morning I was like, oh, it's the first of the week, but we're almost halfway through the week, and it makes it easier. And I started thinking about how inflation and the cost of living and all these things that, like, they're killing us basically, but nobody wants to pay overtime. They want to flip your schedule around to where you be flexible for me, but I'm not going to be flexible for you. And that all started because of a conversation I had with the assistant director at work, who was asking me questions saying, well, y'all got to speak up. I tried to speak up this morning, and the director herself was just like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'm out. And I'm like, wow, must be nice. Like, you're bringing in all this income for yourself and your family, but when it comes down to it, you don't want to pay us a fair wage. So it got me to the point where I'm just like, I'm so over this. Like, a couple of us are, because we're not being paid a livable wage to begin with. But then it comes down to it, you want us to take care of all these people's kids that we have to let them wreak havoc. And a lot of that plays out on the parents and how they're raising their children, but it also plays out on the employers. You don't want to provide health care. You don't want to provide enough money, like I said, a livable wage for one person in a household, because a lot of people these days are divorced or separated or struggling. I guess I'm a slightly different case. No child support because the person refuses to work, so they don't have to pay child support. Good game, right? But anyways, there are people that don't have assistance, that when it comes down to it, like I said, you're watching the gas prices go up, the food prices go up, the housing industry is so inflated right now. And on the backside, none of us are saying anything. So here I am saying something, hoping we'll start sharing this with each other, going, hey, we don't got to take this. Oh no, you go do that. I'm just going to sit over here because I can barely make it, and each month I'm worried about not being able to survive. But you're over there driving a Lexus car, a Lexus SUV, a nice pickup truck, whenever, property, all kinds of stuff. Good for you. But like I said, don't worry about your employees, but you don't want them to leave. So when it comes down to it, it's kind of like, how's this going to work out? And I made a video the other day about greed. This is along those same lines. But this also has to do with government, because the government is the one that can control the situation of inflation. Actually, they are the ones that kind of initiate it. Like, oh, let's just inflate everybody's cost of living, but don't create a better value for it, right? Because if we go back to 1950, the outdoor furniture that was created from 1950, if you're lucky enough, you can still find this furniture in different places, resale shops, stuff like that. Nothing wrong with the furniture. But at some point, it was like, wait, we're not making money off of people. Their stuff's not breaking. So what was the resolution to this situation? Create things that break so they have to keep replacing it. I've noticed that with the toys that children play with, all the little extras, our furniture, even our beds that we sleep in, everything has been made to break. So essentially they're making trash, putting it in a package and going, here you go. Because how many times have you been to the dollar store, Family Dollar, whatever your cheaper stores are, and buy your kids toys? They play with it once, and then where does it go? I mean, at this point, you might as well just hold up a $10 bill and burn that shit and just be like, no one needed it anyways. I don't want to take the trash out. So at what point do we start standing up? At what point do we demand that producers make better quality products for consumers? At what point do we demand that our bosses give us a fair shake of what they're bringing into their life? At what point do we tell the government, you're failing on a lot of levels? At what point do we speak to the state about the roads that we drive on that keep popping our tires, or, just situations going on from things they haven't repaired, potholes that you hit every single day? I've learned where the holes are and I have to swerve around them. That should not be how life works, especially when they're getting a gimme called some of your paycheck. So yeah, this is me stirring the pot right now because I'm beyond irritated with the concept of everyone's you take these jobs that blah blah blah. No, I don't take anything. I have to accept that I have to pay my bills just like everyone else. So I can't go around and keep playing leapfrog with jobs going, this one's better, that one's better. That it's not always like that. Because the thing about employers, it's like they all set this bar, right? This is the least I'll go, this is the most I'll go. And if you come in and try to get anywhere in between, they're like, oh no, we can't do that. And they're going to make sure they give you the lowest with a promise of I'll give you vacation and a raise every single year. How long it would take to make a livable wage for a single person, you're lucky if you still have a home in the end, or you can afford the gas to go to and from work, not to mention the groceries you have to put on the table. So us being forced to live in these bad relationships because we need two people's income, it's getting a little ridiculous. Like freedom is a thing. We talk about we're the land of the free. Shit, we just celebrated Memorial Day. That was to memorialize people that gave up their lives for our freedom. Anybody feeling free these days? Or do you feel the same constraint of a 40-hour work week, that you spend more time working than you do having a day off? And out of those 2 days, most people get off. What are you doing? Same thing I probably did yesterday. Catching up with your house. Getting your laundry done, cleaning your dishes, and luckily I have kids that help with this throughout the week. A lot of people don't have this. So when it comes to we're driving ourselves insane for the concept of what? A little bit of money? But not enough to get by. Like I said, brain started thumping and saying, hey, talk about those things that matter. Talk about those things to get people's juices flowing. Because there's other countries that have rebelled in the simple fact that you're not giving me anything that's going to allow me the chance to be happy. And no, money does not buy you happiness, but it allows you to buy toilet paper. It allows you to have clean drinking water if your faucet does not provide it. It allows you to feed your children, put a roof over your head. And it doesn't have to be a mansion. No one's asking for a fucking mansion. But something that can give you some sort of comfort. Because I'll tell you, I've lived in some houses that squatters wouldn't even stay in anymore. And it was very difficult hearing mice in the walls, watching them run around the house, and having no other way out. It's taken a lot, and it took me leaving a toxic situation in order to get away from that lifestyle. But now I'm at a point, I chose to leave a toxic situation. I've gotten no help from the community services that are available. A lot of times not even from the government services that are available. If you need help with housing and things like that, the wait list is like 2 years long. What do they suggest? You live in a tent? But they're cutting down all the woods. So they're running people out that live in tents. It's kind of a conundrum that we're stuck in. And then you want to rely on the kindness of strangers. Most strangers aren't kind these days. Like I said, we're in a conundrum. And at some point, I'm hoping others will start to help because they hear the message. Let's start fixing the chaos that we've allowed to build up right around us. And I know this is one of those super serious conversations, but at some point, somebody has to have it. At some point, we got to get everybody thinking again, because there is something called a time bank. I don't know if you're aware of a time bank. Has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with sharing your skill sets. Say you're a fishing guide, and I'm a roofer. So you need your roof fixed. I can turn around and give you my labor. You buy the materials. Then you turn around and you show me where the fishing spots are. Guess what? In the end, I could feed us both fish, right? That's just an example. And it doesn't have to be you share your time with me and I share my time with you. Everyone's in the pot and everybody's collecting hours of what their time can be used for, of what they can get back for their time. doesn't always have to be about money. It's very simple that we can start sharing our gifts and start cutting out all this extra burdensome idea that we need to Jones it. And if you don't know what jonesing it is, it's trying to be better than your neighbor. It's trying to be better than somebody else. Always trying to show somebody up. Always trying to keep up. You know, when I was a teenager, I had a friend that had nice cigar boat. His friend had a nice cigar boat. Other friend went and bought a better boat. This person went and bought a better boat. They were going in debt, and I'm watching them like, y'all are idiots. What are you going to do with that one? What you going to do with that one? You know, and just stockpiling stupid toys to be better than one another. Don't be that idiot. Don't be somebody that thinks that what others think about you is all that matters. Especially if you're not willing to even consider the concept of a time bank, because that's giving. Yes, you will receive, but in the end you have to give something to get something back. It's called sharing. So maybe we can start trying to think smarter and not work harder, because a lot of us are tired. We have children we're trying to raise. We have households we're trying to keep intact. And so much time is spent outside of the house that our children are basically raising themselves. Everyone is always on the go. There's no time for anything anymore other than work. And then when you're home, it's that free work you do. You know, those chores and cooking and making sure everyone's taken care of. And then there's never really any time for yourself. So whatever reason that message needs to get out there, we need to start standing up for ourselves a lot more than what we do. Just like we need to start teaching our kids to stand up for themselves in a positive manner rather than always having them fight against a bully. Someone said today, I hit so-and-so because they made me. They were picking on me. And I said, no, they didn't make you. You chose to. You can always walk away. And he said, what? I said, you can always walk away. This kid is way smaller than most of the other kids, and his dad teaches him, don't let anyone disrespect you because you're small. Don't let anyone push you around. So this kid off the bat is a firecracker, ready to punch any and everybody that he can, because his dad is teaching him to be insecure. So instead, let's work a little bit more with our young ones to ensure that they have a future. Let's stand up for them now so they don't have to sit here and fight something later that we've allowed to be created. Because you can be a part of a failing system or an abundant one. And just because we're progressing doesn't mean we're making progress. So I'm going to leave it on that note, sending you peace, love, and light. Hopefully food for thought. And like I said, let's get this message out and share it with everybody so we can start being heard, working a little bit less. Bye-bye.